Hello, everyone. My name is Florence McCauley, the founder and CEO of AgeWise Home. I am so happy to be here and grateful Age Bold is pushing the conversation of aging in place at their Bold Summit. AgeWise Home is an aging in place consulting and concierge company that provides services to the elderly, people with disabilities, and multi-generational households. With every client, we focus on our four-step AID process, AIDE. We assess, identify, design, and educate you through your aging in place plan. The important topics that we are going to discuss is what is aging in place, home modifications, aging in place challenges, helpful tips, smart technology, and resources. What is aging in place? The Centers of Disease Control defined aging in place as the ability to live in one's own home and community safely, independently, and comfortably, regardless of age, income, or ability level. I love the definition of aging in place by the CDC because it's holistic. Your aging in place plan and experience will be as unique as you are. Your plan must be specific to your needs. Looking at the definition that the CDC has for aging in place isn't just about your home, but it's also about your community. I want to make sure to explain your community is not just your neighborhood, but also your network of friends and family who should be part of your aging in place plan. I always tell clients, and it's so important, how do you even start aging in place? What do you think about? And I think the most important thing and aspect about aging in place and initiating an aging in place plan is to take stock of your affairs. Do you have a will? Do you plan to sell your home or keep it in a trust for your children? When aging in place, it's not a one size fits all process. You really need to take a deep dive into your life that you have now and the life that you want when you are aging in place. What does that look like and what does that feel like? You want to think about those things and take your time. Think about it. Are you reviewing all the pertinent information associated with your health and finances? I recommend contacting an estate attorney before there are any concerns about your capacity. And that means if you are deemed that you do not have the capacity to make decisions, you have to make sure that you have a spouse, a family member that you trust to be your power of attorney, or you will have a guardian appointed to you. So it's really important to make sure you think about those things. Also, are your advance directives up to date? And advance directives are you notifying people, your healthcare professionals, or even your family. Do you want to not be resuscitated or not be intubated? These are very important things that need to be addressed in your aging in place plan with your family. The other thing is contacting a financial advisor. What is the projection of what you need to age in place? That is really going to depend on your home, your quality of life, and what you have deemed important for your aging in place. Something else I really want to make sure I stress is aging in place isn't just about home modifications. You have to ask yourself the who, what, where, and why while developing your aging in place plan. One thing you want to ask, whom will I be living with? What will I feel like? If you have a progressive disease like Parkinson's or Alzheimer's dementia, you have a better understanding of how to plan because these are progressive diseases and changes will occur. Where will I be living? Can I afford it? What have I made? Why have I made the decisions I've made thus far? Are they realistic? I love starting an aging in place plan with questions. Ask yourself these questions. Who will I be with? What will I be doing? Where will I be? And why am I deciding to age in place where I am? So I always want you to always start with questions. And another thing is, will your caregiver have children that they also need to provide care for? Can my caregivers provide direct care or just financial support? And have you discussed the specific roles caregivers will have in your life? I always stress that aging in place is done with love and compassion, but you have to have a plan in writing so that it works for everyone who is involved. Home modifications is a big topic because I think when people initially think about aging in place, they think, okay, home modifications, but you want to think about it in a very different way. So, what are home modifications? Home modifications are retrofits or adjustments made to an existing home to improve its physical accessibility. And I always want to stress home modifications are to increase your accessibility and use of your home and your safety. Because if your home is not accessible to you, it does not matter what your function is. If anything changes, your home will not be a safe aging in place option. So I always want you to think about it. Before you initiate any home modifications, you should search for an aging in place specialist, certified aging in place specialist, or CAPS, like myself, to assist contractors with the specific needs for your modification. I think we really have to stress the importance of thinking, is my home going to be accessible for me now? And will it be 10 years in the future? And that's how you should really inform your home modifications because they should age with you. Another thing that people tend to overlook is the structure and the function of their home, which is the main reason people have to leave. Working in nursing homes, as I have for a lot of my professional career, you realize that people are not living in their homes simply because the home isn't accessible. And one of the things I always want to stress is accessibility is rarely purchased, but it's always created to age in place. One of the three main areas that create the most barriers for people while they're aging in place are access in and out of the home, getting up and down the stairs, usually to a full bathroom or the bedrooms, and managing in the bathroom. If you can find solution to these barriers in your home, it will help your age in place experience. These three main barriers can cause such an issue. For example, I had a young client, 43, with multiple sclerosis. It was fairly new diagnosis. But now, after 10 years of this diagnosis, this is the first time that he needs to be in a wheelchair. And as a result, he cannot exit the home without the assistance of his wife or with a lot of time spent on trying to navigate stairs, getting in and out of a wheelchair, getting in and out of a chairlift. And when you think about the case of an emergency, it will take him about 10 to 15 minutes to exit the home safely. In a case of an emergency, that is not time that we have. So with their major barrier of him getting in and out of the home, a ramp is going to be the best and immediate impact to safely get him out of the home. What's so important about home modifications are home safety assessment. You have to get an objective view of your home. We live in our home, we change the way we do things because there might be something in the home that's been there for 10, 20 years that we work around, but you really need an objective view, someone with a CAP certification to say, you know what, looking at your home and doing an assessment, these are the objective things that I've seen that need to be reviewed so that you can safely age in place. And that is a great proactive way to determine if you're able to stay in your home or you have to age in place elsewhere. And what I love about a home safety assessment is it's a small investment to have a better understanding of the possible barriers in your home. Unfortunately, most insurance companies do not pay for home safety assessments, but it's something I definitely recommend that once you get one, still do apply and allow your insurance company to see if it can be approved or not. So one thing that I would do is submit your home safety assessment receipt and actual report to your insurance company to see if it can be paid for, if not completely, at least a small portion of it. Home modifications can range from a $10 nightlight to a $100,000 full bathroom and kitchen remodel, depending on the extent of what is needed. But please research qualified contractors because it's so important to make sure that the professionals that are helping you understand that any modification that is done in the home, it is for your current level of function, but it's also for your future level of function. We have to make sure that the home modifications age with you. And some of the low cost age in place modifications that I recommend after a safety assessment are in Sterling grab bars specific to the general needs of everyone in the home. It will be for the person who has decreased function, but also for the caregiver that is going to be assisting. It's very important that if a caregiver is involved, that all modifications are going to be appropriate for the person that they're helping and for themselves to make sure that they're safe. Another thing that's important is raising toilet seats to at least 17 inches. They do have attachments that they can place underneath your toilet, or you can just purchase a new toilet that has the height that you need of at least 17 inches, 19 inches being most ideal, depending on your actual height. And another thing is adding a bathroom heating source. You'd be surprised as you get older, your temperature regulation system doesn't hold up as much as we'd like. So sometimes we tend to get a little cold. So what is really helpful is just having a heating source. And that is something depending on what your home can tolerate. It'd be a great conversation to have with any contractor that you're working with. Also, which I think is very important, is signage in the home for those with dementia. Sometimes, depending on the stage of dementia that you might be in, you have difficulty remembering the layout of your home. So I think it's very helpful to have a sign for the bathroom. Or when you're in the kitchen, have a sign that says, these are where the dishes are. This is where the cups are. These are where you can get napkins. So we want to make sure that as someone's cognition changes, we're helping them and we're aiding them in their aging in place process by adding simple signage to help them remember as much as they can. Other ways of implementing low cost aging in place modifications is smart technology. Declutter the home, especially your walkways. Install lighting along hallways and stairs, and please secure all entrance and stairwell rails. It's so important. Simple home modifications can also decrease a risk of a fall, especially when you declutter your walkways, install proper lighting, and secure those rails inside and outside of the home. Another great low-cost home modification that can help with decreasing a fall risk is taping down the edges of area rugs. Ideally, yes, we'd love you to pull up those area rugs, but that's not always ideal for everyone. So taping them down to make sure if you're rolling with them with a walker or a wheelchair, it doesn't get snagged under those wheels. I also want to discuss aging in place challenges. Ideally, your aging in place plan will start before any medical or injury event. I always recommend of thinking about your aging in place when you're not under stress or any anxiety, so you can sit back and have a really good conversation with your spouse, your partner, your family, so you can really devise a very concrete and good plan to figure out what aging in place means to you, especially if there are already some challenges to your aging in place. I must stress this again. Aging in place is so specific to you and your needs. Whatever your challenges are, please address them head on and early. Aging in place is specific to you and your loved one's needs. There are many challenges and barriers to aging in place, so think about what is needed to safely age in place. Your challenges might include medical challenges, financial, social, functional, and cognitive. But whatever your challenges might be, please plan ahead. One challenge to aging in place is Alzheimer's dementia. Alzheimer's dementia is a progressive degenerative disease of the brain producing loss of memory, function, and in some cases, severe loss of functioning. There are about 480,000 new cases of Alzheimer's dementia diagnosed each year. As the aging population increases, so will the numbers. By 2030, it is estimated that about 615,000 new cases will be diagnosed each year. And by 2050, the number will increase to 959,000. It's not just a person impacted by Alzheimer's dementia, it's also their families. Nearly 16 million family members, friends, and neighbors provide unpaid care for patients and persons with Alzheimer's dementia. There is increasing evidence that individuals who do not engage in regular mental, social, and physical activities and a possibility, a combination of all three, are at a heightened risk of Alzheimer's dementia. It helps to make sure persons can see and hear and speak with their loved ones. Some tips associated with dementia are: once a diagnosis has been confirmed, seek assistance often and early. A dementia diagnosis allows you to seek other resources that might not be available if you don't have that diagnosis. So it's very important that if you have any questions or concerns, you follow up with your primary care physician who can refer you to a neurologist. The other thing is there are behaviors that are associated with dementia. You might have wandering, sundowning. There might be aggressive or agitated behaviors, but these are things that you can prepare for the best you can by understanding what stage your loved one is in dementia and know what to expect. When you know what to expect, you know how to plan. Not everyone's dementia is the same, but it's really important that you understand what to expect with the progression of this disease. Something else I really stress is learning to communicate the weight that is needed to achieve understanding from the family member with dementia. Sometimes aggressive behavior from people with dementia is their way of communicating when they're not able to fully communicate their needs. And so what that comes out as is frustration. It's not hatred, it's not anger, but when you cannot fully communicate your needs, a lot of times that frustration is presented as aggressive behavior. And one thing we also always recommend is implementing regular physical, mental, and social activities. It does not matter who you are, if you have dementia or you don't. It's just so important to make sure that you're mentally, emotionally, physically stimulated to increase your quality of life as you age in place. Another tip that I would also include is education for caregivers at all levels will help increase the person's quality of life. It's so important that you understand what's going on with the person as much as possible. Something else that really helps is placing yourself at eye level with the person that you're speaking to. Always identify yourself and always call that person by their name before initiating a conversation. It's just so beneficial for that person to be able to really engage and understand what you mean. Another challenge to aging in place is a sandwich generation. The sandwich generation refers to middle aged individuals who are supporting both aging parents and growing children. The sandwich generation is named so because they are effectively sandwiched between the obligation to care for their aging parents and children who require financial, physical, and emotional support. When looking for multi-generational households, make sure at a minimum to have the least amount of entrance stairs and a first floor setup, or what people are calling now a second master. And this will decrease the need for other expensive home modifications in the future. The other thing that I would definitely stress for anyone in the sandwich generation would be ask for help. People in this category can start from the age of 25, depending on the needs of your parent and child. And just think about it. If you are a person who has a parent with dementia and you have a child who might have a learning disability or physical disability, just think about the magnitude and the responsibilities that you have. And that doesn't even include the job that you're required to be at and present on a daily basis. So please ask your network for help. Please think about different resources. Please think about anything that is going to make it easier for you to help your loved one, your parent, and your child. It's about their quality of life, but it's also making sure that you take care of yourself. Our technology is not for everyone, but as people age, many need a support system, including family, caregivers, and a residence that has been outfitted to accommodate the common frailties of aging. Reduce vision, decrease mobility, increase fall risk, and more. Smart home devices can help you care for seniors that you live with. As we age in place, we have to think about some tips and tricks to help us, not just us, our family members, our caregivers. So I always want to make sure that I give a couple of tips and tricks just to help you age in place. One of my tips is always have a home safety assessment completed before a medical or injury event occurs. Know the barriers in your home. I have clients who have had knee replacements, hip replacements, or just a medical event that changes the way that they move. If you don't have a home safety assessment and those things happen, how are you going to enter the home? If you're not able to walk as you normally were before the medical or injury event, how are you going to navigate those 12 stairs to enter your home? So when you know the barriers in your home, you can think ahead and plan. If something happened, maybe going to my home immediately won't be the best option. Living with someone temporarily until your function increases might be the best plan. Also, aging in place should include a minimum number of entrance stairs, have a first floor setup, meaning have a main bathroom on the main level with a full bathroom. Because if you are not able to get into the shower or get into the home, it is very difficult. So let's think about having a full bathroom and bedroom on the first floor. And also think about a barrier-free shower. Because if you have any physical challenges, think about how hard it is to get your leg up over the lip of a tub. So just think about having a barrier-free shower or a shower that you can walk into, which we call curbless. And another thing is identify a neighbor or a friend who is a minimum of 1 to 3 miles away or less than 10 minutes away to assist with emergencies when and if emergency medical services is called. Sometimes you're okay. If you have had a fall, always have someone who can help you up if you're not able to get yourself up, but always call EMS and your physician if that occurs. A few other tips that I would recommend is use a nightlight to illuminate your path to the bathroom for nighttime trips. Most falls in the home occur in or around the bathroom. And a lot of times you're rushing, but always make sure that anytime you're walking, your path is lit to avoid and to prevent a fall. At the minimum, each household should have a working blood pressure cuff, a thermometer, a pulse oximeter, which will check your oxygen levels and your heart rate to monitor your vital health when you don't feel your best. Sometimes doctors don't know what they don't know, but you are an expert with your body. So telling your physician how you feel, but also having those objective measures like your blood pressure reading or your heart rate will really inform the doctor on how best to help you. The other thing that I would always say is if there's any devices that you don't know how to use, ask your health professional. They are versed in this. They will be happy to help you learn how to use a blood pressure cuff or a thermometer because that lets them know that you are invested in your own care, and that actually makes their job a lot easier. The last tip that I would definitely recommend is when visiting an elderly loved one who lives by themselves or with a spouse, always check the environment. Check to see, is there trash piled up? Is there food in the refrigerator? Is the food that's in the refrigerator expired? Are they properly groomed and dressed? If you're worried about any of those things, that's when you have to ring the alarm and say, okay, are you safe to age in place? Do you need help? Has anything changed? And so when you see someone who might not be well groomed, or if there might be any odor to the home or to that person, it's a great way to start having a conversation because aging in place is not just about the home, about the caregiver. It's about the quality of life. And we want to make sure that anyone who is aging in place, living with them by themselves or with a caregiver, you want to make sure that they're properly groomed and healthy. But if any of these issues are observed on different occasions, please start that aging in place conversation with them immediately. Thank you so much for your time and the opportunity to discuss a very passionate topic for me about aging in place. So does anyone have any questions?